You know, earlier today, he introduced me and my little company as Ikigai. And for those of you who know, my wife's Japanese. And I want to talk a little bit about, well, why would I call my company that? I mean, even my wife and my friends said, why isn't it called Working Out Loud? Because working out loud isn't the thing. And Barbara Schmidt said this in our session. Yes, this is a Vol camp, and yes, I have Vol t-shirts and mugs. It's a means, not an end. And what I want to talk about today is a means to what? So Ikigai is a Japanese word for, in French you might say raison d'être, in a better pronunciation. It's a reason for being, a reason to get up in the morning. It's your individual sense of purpose and meaning. And my own experience was that I didn't even think to look for that until my 40s. I didn't even know that was a choice, because I just did. And it's no one's fault but mine. I had a privileged time and career with ups and downs, but I wasn't happy. I certainly didn't find my Ikigai. Yes, I loved my family, but something was missing. So I wanted to start today with a few quotes from real people. I'm not going to read them to you, but as you read them, see if you can identify with any of them or know people who could. And I want you to hold that person in your mind, again, without judgment, just with compassion, even if it's yourself. We'll go through, there's 5 of them, but these quotes struck me. These are real people. I think I could relate to at least 3 of them. And I certainly know people who feel each of these things. So the themes are the same. I want to be recognized. I have a voice. I am somebody. And when you're forced, whether it's in a factory or in an office, and you're forced into a box to fit in, it's not right. It's not human. And towards the end, the last 2 quotes are more about something higher than that. So I wasn't working in the coal mine. I was in an office. By many measures, it's a pretty easy way of life. I was lucky. But the last 2 says, even that's not enough. There's some feeling of meaning and fulfillment that I'm looking for. And for many people, this was certainly me. I didn't even know where to look. So these quotes were from this book. It was written in 1973, so 45 years ago. I just read it recently. And what I was struck by, and the reason why I pulled from those quotes, is that the themes are the same. All right, so it's 1973, computers are just coming onto the scene, and you hear people, they were telephone operators, and they're like, they're treating me like I'm a number. I'm number 407. And then when I'm at companies that are here, and people introduce themselves with their acronym. right? Or it's in their email footer. One guy had 17 letters. And I just, man, you're a lot more than that. So the themes were the same. And what the gentleman who wrote it, Studs Terkel, he did it, he toured the United States and he interviewed people in all different kinds of jobs. And what he said was this: there's a search that we're on. And it's a very personal, individual search. For what works for you is different than you and different than me, and that's okay. But boy, after a certain amount of money, like we all need money, after a certain amount, we need something else. And we have the luxury, if we have food, shelter, etc., that we can look for it. And if we don't find it, it's like there's a little hole inside us. So for me, in my 40s, that hole got bigger. And as I looked around me, and I worked in a place where there was a lot of money flowing. I worked in a bank, lots of money flowing through this. Everybody knew we were paid more than other people in other industries. Still, we seem to have bigger holes than other people. So the why of working out loud was born from that. From my own search, but also in helping other people with their search. That's why we're doing what we're doing. That's when I say we're trying to reach more people or help people, it's not just because we're nice. I mean, that's part of it. You people are pretty nice. It's because if we can help them, that radiates all around that person, helping their team, their family. If you do it at scale, helping the company. You do it at a bigger scale, it helps the planet. So here's my mission in a nutshell, and I say this not to have some, to tick a box and say I have a mission, but I wrote this on my, I have a little whiteboard near my closet, and I wrote this on top to remind me of my why. It's not to give more talks, or necessarily make more money, or to be anything. Anything. Not more likes. This is why. It's to improve how we relate. This, to me, is the biggest problem of our lifetime. A nice quote by an evolutionary biologist said, "We have Star Wars technology and Stone Age emotions." And whenever you get an email and you respond back like that, and it's mean, or there's nastiness at work or in your team, and not only does it affect you, but then you talk about it at home, and so on and so on, that little poison radiates out. So here's the problem that I want to make a dent in, that I would like us to make a dent in. How do we relate to other people? That is working out loud. Right, we created a very business-friendly thing where everybody accepts that, yes, we have to work together. And can we improve that? Because if we can improve that, it's very helpful for us during a big part of our life at work. How can we improve how we relate to ourselves? Now, most people, how many people here have heard, be the change you want to see in the world, right? Yeah. Too hard. It's too hard. Yes, it sounds nice. And Gandhi did it. I'm not Gandhi. And I don't think it's fair, actually, to ask everyone to be like Gandhi, who wasn't perfect anyway. So I kind of reversed it and said, can we solve the simpler problem first? Can we just do something that feels like work, but actually has me changing how I view other people? And then we'll work on the second problem. And the last is, do the work that I do. So, you know, how many books have you read about follow your passion or your dream or find your purpose? Or maybe you take an inventory and say, these are your skills. Now use these skills to do, here's... Again, I don't think that works. Because very few people have any idea of all of the possibilities of what they could be doing. And now, more than ever, the possibilities are changing. So, for sure, the kinds of jobs there'll be, the kind of projects, responsibilities there'll be in 2, 3, 5 years will be wildly different. So planning based on your strengths inventory, not helpful. You need a way to discover what's out there, and you need a way to enjoy, find meaning and purpose in what you're doing right now. The way to do that, the how, are these circles. Not just the circles and the guides that we have right now, but this basic construct. So to be clear, what I've created so far is not new. Let me say that very clearly. All the concepts have been out there. Circles, not new. Peer support, not new. We just connected them in such a way that it's easy for anyone to take conventional ancient wisdom and practice it over time until it becomes a habit and a mindset. That's our gift. That's our gift to other people of this movement, of you people. You're taking what most people say, that makes sense. Yes, we do need more of that. But they're so busy and distracted, they never get to it. So you're giving them a vehicle, a psychologically safe vehicle, where they can practice it and learn until it becomes a habit and a mindset. And these circles are lightweight enough that it can spread. Doesn't need managers, doesn't need permission, doesn't need budget. And when it works, and it does not work all the time, it's not for everyone, like what is? But when it works, it's because people feel something. It's because Daniela and her circle felt more empowered and then wanted to tell her friends or her colleagues and spread it. So this is the how that we change people. And they feel like this. I love this picture. Does anyone in this room in this picture? In my head, these people are at Henkel. But I just love the food and the smiling faces. And what they told me is that they were strangers at the beginning, and they developed this feeling. Why I think that's important is you can experience in a small confidential space, this safe space, that, hey, even with a stranger, we have things in common. You're like me in some way. And certainly we all are at some level. And then I could have that experience with anybody. Companies. This is not a promotional slide. I wanted to, well, because I wanted to explain why are we talking about companies all the time? Like if this is our mission to change how we relate to each other, to ourselves, and the work we do, why is it about companies? It's because they're the engine. And this is what I mean. You could have personal development on the edge. It could be something you do on the weekend. It could be at work, but if you've got yoga mats or a meditation room, they're kind of on the outside, right? And what I wanted to do is, if you really want people to practice over time, you have to go where they are, and they're at work. So if there's a miracle of what we've done, what you've accomplished, not me, what you've accomplished, is you've managed to integrate a personal development program that's a psychologically safe space in some of the most traditional companies in the world. And now that you have that, you've got a way to help people experience other kinds of behaviors, to put other kinds of ancient wisdom into practice until it becomes a habit. That's a very powerful thing. Right? You have created not just helped a few hundred, a few thousand people. You created almost a distribution network for people to change themselves in a way that's good for them and good for the people around them. This is a picture from Daimler and Bosch. Some of you may have seen it. So it's October 31st. What's cool about this? What's cool is that the people who worked on this, and they're in the room and they're up on stage, they're not just cheerleading or hoping for a better workplace. they're not just, I used this line yesterday, throwing rocks at the machine, right, and not making a dent. They had an idea, they took a step, they connected some other people, made their work visible, took another step. Each step expands the perimeter of their potential until possibilities emerge that no one would have predicted. Who's going to predict that board members are wearing wall hoodies, right? It's ludicrous. Can you imagine me going up? Can you imagine me going up and they're hugging, hi, Michael Brecht, I don't even speak your language, but I'm John in New York City and I've got a good idea, right? Get out of my office. But the people here managed to reach them. And it wasn't just, I have a proposal, please look at my PowerPoint slides and give me permission. No, it was years of work, of experiments, of steps, of saying, look, we made this, we tried this, here are the benefits. Here's 10 stories, here's 100 stories, here's 1,000 stories. And it made it easy for them to say, yes. And now we can help you scale it, right? And make it safe for other people who may not consider themselves early adopters. So circles are the how, and companies are the engine, but it's not limited to that. I love this picture because, and Tanya's in the room, first because the idea that some drone took a photograph of people in green shirts is funny. But what Tanya's done in a very different kind of company, the Deutsche Messe, so it's much smaller, is she can reach an even higher proportion of the company. So again, the thing I want to point out, many of you attend conferences like this, Future of Work, Digital Something, right? And you feel like it's the same tribe. Not bad, it's good, but there's a sameness to it. And you want to be listened to, but you may struggle to make the difference you want to make. What I'm suggesting is, what we're talking about increasingly is how people, like the metaphor this morning, people who plant those seeds are seeing meadows of change. Okay, where are we going to go? So what I was going to share is where I'm going to go, but I'm just one guy. So here's what I'm doing. And as we talk about that, you could think, well, like, what am I going to do? What's Ute at IBM going to do? It's not a challenge, it's an invitation. For sure, we're going to reach more people. So, yes, Germany's awesome. Yay. 52, I got to update the slide, thank you. Yes, Germany's awesome. I don't think there's anything German about the process for a number of reasons. I get this question a lot, like, why Germany? You know, why not America? And I think the reason is as simple as because you're first. Because Katharina was first in 2015 when circles were pretty awful. And she said, I'll try it. They got better, version 1, version 2, version 3, version 4. And then she told her friends, next thing we're having dinner with Lucas, and then Melanie, and Anya, and then the wall cop, right? And now here. So that social behavior spread through social networks. You're living that. And those networks now have reached other countries. Iran, Thailand, China, Brazil. People who, it's not just, oh, I heard about it and I'm in a circle. People who believe, right? People who care as much as you do and said, I'm in Turkey. No one here has a clue what this thing is. I'm going to do this for my country. Maybe they work in Germany. Maybe they work in Bursa at a Bosch plant. And on their nights and weekends, they do hard translation work so they could help other people. In Bologna, Annemie's here, in Dutch, where she's in Belgium, working with people in the Netherlands. Fiona and team translating into French, Connie Wu translating into Mandarin, so that this becomes kind of normal, right? Here we are, Katarina and I, there she is. I'm giving some goofy thumbs up. And we're in Shanghai as if it's normal. And now we're on a calendar in Mandarin. It's become institutionalized. So where we're heading, we collectively, is that this new way of working is becoming the new normal. It's safe. You experienced that at Siemens on Monday. A year ago, we had a wall camp, and it was nice, but it certainly felt like, boy, the outliers came together and organized a thing, and we at least gained confidence and validation from each other. Good. A year goes by, and the CIO of your company is there, tweeting about how good this is, your event. And one of your board members gave an opening, right? Very, very different feel at Siemens from a year ago. It still didn't change the company, and who knows where it will go, but you're making more of a dent. I want to talk a few minutes about a new practice. So I said there's a reason why I didn't call my one-person company Working Out Loud. And while I was in Japan over the summer, I developed a second practice. So that mission, improve how we relate to each other, ourselves, and the work we do. WAL SC is the second part of that mission. SC stands for self-care or self-compassion, supercharge if you don't like those other words. And I'm going to explain what it is, and then maybe at some point you'll take part in it. I wanted to give people who've been in a circle someplace else to go next. So you've been in a circle, and you're like, this is good, I get it, but I've done two. What do I do next? This might be it. It's still a circle structure, but I changed the format so that you meet once a month for 6 months. And what you experience over those 6 months are 5 separate practices. These are practices that change how you relate to yourself. Every one may not be great for you, like, oh, this isn't really a challenge I have, or I don't really relate to this, but then you can help your circle members. But almost certainly, out of the 5, you'll find 1 or more that are helpful. All 5 have helped me. There are guides, just like the other ones. Month 1 is tuning into your inner voice. Some of you who work with mindfulness, this is related to that, these 5 practices. And over the 5 months, you are given the structure and the permission to take, again, ancient wisdom supported by plenty of modern research that says if you practice these things till they become a habit, you'll be happier and more effective. But people don't do them because you're busy or anxious or uncertain. So again, what we do is we give people the space, the structure, the shared accountability to practice what we've known is good for human beings for a few thousand years, and what science tells us is actually true. Right now, I was so uncertain about this that I didn't practice what I preach. I didn't publish them. Instead, I asked for volunteers, and I thought I would do, 12 people, 3 circles. But there were more volunteers than I expected, so we're doing an experiment with 100 people, 20 circles, and then Julie's going to help me. Julie's going to help me to shape version 2, which we'll publish for free on the website. And then there'll be a 3rd practice in 2019 that we'll experiment with. Okay. This is the last thing, which is for the rest of the day, and as you leave here and you go home, I'd ask you to reflect, what is it that you're going to do? How might you apply this movement, this direction, how might you apply it? So for some of you, it could be, I'm just going to try and take the job I'm in and try to do it in such a way that I get more joy out of it. I'm more empathetic and generous with the people around me, and so my everyday is better. If that's all you did, that's huge. That's great. Many of you, again, this isn't about working out loud, like as the goal, but you'll use it to help other people around you. And your sphere of influence might be your team, people at your company, people that you care about in other communities, inside or outside of work. But the more you do it, the more you expand your sphere of influence to cover things, topics that you care about. And I know there are people in the room that have applied this to topics that I never imagined. So I got mail in the last 2 weeks. Someone who works in a nursing group here in Germany who wants to apply it for nurses. Now imagine being a nurse. It's a very noble job, super hard. Right? And she says, look, she was German, so she told me directly, the guides are too long, it'll never work this way, you know, blah, blah, blah. So we need to change them. Dear so-and-so, thank you for your note. I appreciate it. Could we talk on the phone? Yes, son of a... right? That's somebody who's like, hey, I want to make the effort. And the step that she took was to send me that note. I don't know if she's going to change dialysis nursing here in Germany. Nor does she. But she could do that. She could send an email. We could have a phone call. Oh, you responded. How nice. And now we set a date. A step. Perimeter of our potential. Now the maybe got a little bigger. Somebody else. One guy was not happy. And he had lost or never found his ikigai. But that safe, confidential space helped him to kind of just take a step. And he worked on projects, and we had a phone call recently. It's the gentleman you introduced me to, Kata. And we had a phone call, and he showed me about, he was an engineer in solar technology, and he created a solar vehicle for his dad who needed a cart to go around. And he showed me pictures of him and his dad in this cart. And he used his circle to do something meaningful, right? To find his ikigai. And ikigai is one of the factors in longevity. Like you live longer because you have a reason to get up in the morning, right? This guy had lost his reason. And he found it. And then that project, his dad, by the way, traveled 1,000 kilometers without having to recharge. So this could be a lifesaver for people who have mobility issues. And he did it on nights and weekends. Last one, someone sends me, he's in the UK, and he says, well, I'm working out loud with my family. I'm like, wow, I would not recommend that. Honey, what you should do is... no, what he said was, he said, well, he works at one of your big companies, and he was introduced to the method at work, but there was something he wanted to do outside of work, and so he wanted to form a circle around that. And then he said, so I just thought I would tell my wife about it and see if she was interested, and to my surprise, she was. And then they told their kids. And he said, my daughter's in university, my son just graduated, so he's looking for work, and my daughter's just not very confident. And so we're in week 4, and my daughter feels a bit more confident. And my wife and I now are talking about each of the things that we're doing, and he says it's really helpful. Never imagine. The point of these stories is, it's not about me, it's not about a plan, this isn't like a global programmatic rollout. Yes, there are some stories we've heard today about how we can make the engine bigger by leveraging big companies and the programs they have. That's good. That is not it. That's not the entire answer. You in this room have the power to do things. They do not have to be big things. It might just be like that lady in the nursing group, just sending that note, just trying that step. I had multiple conversations today with people who just, do you think it's possible? Yes. What experiment could you do that would expand your perimeter of potential? So, I want to leave you with this question. This often used phrase of, change starts with you. If I hear one more boss tell me that, it can be true. It can be true. There's a way to go about it. And that way is small steps, practiced over time, with feedback support along the way, so that, like Katharina, like Lucas, like Tanya, you build a tribe over time that believes what you believe. And look, maybe along the way it doesn't work, and so you take a left turn and then a right turn. That's purposeful discovery. Over time, you build a tribe of people, and you can make a big difference in your life and the lives of people around you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, John. And we have another 10 minutes maybe for questions. We have 2 microphones here, so whoever has a question for John in the room, there you go.
Thank you for asking a question. A question is a contribution. I just want to point that out. Thank you very much, Kai.
Okay. Yeah, hello everybody. My name is Kai. I just wanted to share something that we also had a quick discussion on. So before I worked in a corporation, and 1 year ago I embarked on a journey to found my own company. And what I realized is really that the tools of working out loud are super helpful in this process, because it's often about finding partnerships, sharing open knowledge, also sharing like difficulties you have with other people and how you can overcome it. So I found that super helpful. But because we are a small business, just 2 people, we don't have employees. So it's less about like doing the VOL circles within our company, but across companies. And so my thought was like maybe one could do much more in the sense to connect people across companies. Yeah, across startups, across also self-employed and business owners, because I think there's a high value in that. And John, if you have experience on that.
Well, that's a perfect example of here's someone who, hey, my universe is a little bit different, and I've got maybe 2 experiments I could do. One is, are there startups that are like me that we could form a circle just to see how could we help each other instead of pretending that we're all awesome and all going to get big funding, right? Which is very stressful to pretend that all the time. You could say, man, my wife is telling me maybe I should get a job and it's tough and I don't know if this is even going to work and so on. So you have the safe, confidential space while you're building skills that will help you be more successful. So as a one-person startup, I could relate to that. So that's one possibility. The other is, I bet many of the larger companies here have an innovation program, have startup incubators, have that kind of thing. And so wouldn't it be cool if, yes, you're a 2-person startup, but you're advising, I don't know, Merck and their startup incubator on how those people could both give birth to an idea or also spread it and build their tribe by using circles, right? And you're uniquely qualified to do that experiment with them. Great example. Thank you.
Need a microphone?
Also, yeah, okay, turns are good. This is, I mean, demand is great.
Go for it.
I promised to share.
What's your name?
Julia.
Yeah,
Sorry, yeah. I promised to share some conversation we had about WLSC, and that I felt a little bit isolated with our pioneers circle. And the question to all of you who are participating in this experiment is, could we connect and create a community in order to share our experiences, not only in our circles, but also across all circles? And it's good to give you feedback, but it feels a little bit focused too much on you, so yeah.
Is there anyone else here at WLSC? So a few people. Great. And maybe if you could find Julia, if you're interested. And what this raises a lovely point, is that you could have today, first of all, you raised your hand, right? So you took the step of, I'll participate in this new thing. I'm not really sure what it is, but I'll participate. Step one. Step two is, today you said, hey, buddy, like when do we get a chance to give feedback and how do I meet the other people? And so we have this, step three, you're brave enough to take the microphone, right? And now, maybe there's 5 people, maybe there's 10, maybe there's 50 who shape version 2 so that it's actually more effective and better. And you're not waiting on instructions, it's not about me. You've changed the possibilities with those little steps. Thank you very much.
Daniela already has the mic.
Daniela from Bosch as well. John asked me to share something about social...
Notice I did plant things in the audience. I just want to be clear about that.
How can you use working out loud in, to make like an impact in the society transformation for a better world? Yeah, in May we started working out loud also in Brazil. And because we also translated the Working Out Loud guides in Portuguese, and we found people from Brazil that are really like, we want our country to change. We have a big problem with corruption and values. So we said, yes, we want to bring it there because we see that it touches people. It touches people in the inside, and it makes the eyes open for what can be in the future. So we try to get it in the society there as well, and hopefully it reaches the politicians as well. So this is what we are our hope, what we can do in the society. And myself, I also do with the children, yeah, because we need technical people here in Germany, and myself as an engineer, and when I came here, everybody say, yeah, what do you do? Are you a social assistant or are you a teacher or something? I said, no, I'm an engineer. What, an engineer? So I said, I want to help in the children, in the school system in Germany, the children that they discover their potential, and also are helping with the companies to get technical Nachwuchs and get people, engineers. If you are interested, contact me to go to the schools and serve as a role models for children to see what can be done with engineering. So.
That's beautiful. Two very different directions that you went in, not knowing where you would wind up, right? So this isn't about a plan, and fixing Brazil is impossible until it isn't. So until you help 10 people, you help 100, maybe you've affected the corporate culture, now the companies make some more mindful choices, and then you see what emerges. But it's only possible if you take those early steps. So thank you for those great examples.
Okay. Fee also has a question, Daniela. Thank you.
I did not ask fee. I just want to put that, like, there was one person I did not ask.
I've seen you talking in the break.
Thank you, fee.
Yeah, we asked, we had food together. That's the only thing we did.
Yes.
You owe me money.
That's right. Oh, God. Oh, look at the time. Wait, yes.
Something personal, maybe. Questions right behind you already. Where will you go? You said you're going to look at the third practice you want to pilot next year. But what are your ambitions? What is something you're curious about finding out? Because you've addressed something very fundamental. Human connection, what's next for you? Something you're uncertain about, something you're really, really curious about. What are you going to solve next? Hunger?
Do we have time? This wasn't part of the program. Okay. So it's good. I don't have a prepared answer. But I'll give you two short ones. First, after WALL-SC, I will develop a third practice. So part of the answer is, what am I going to literally do next? I'm working on other products and services that will help people practice. And the third one is going to be about helping people in a very busy and distracted environment and world to do more meaningful work. So there's plenty of wisdom about how to do that, how to manage your time, how to manage your tools, and to package that in such a way using a different kind of circle structure so that we can help more people get out of the busy trap, be more effective while also finding more purpose. So that'll be something I'll write in Japan this summer or next summer, and then we'll do an experiment after WALL-SC. But I think your broader question was like, okay, what am I uncertain about or where I'm heading? For sure, today and every time I'm in a room talking to people about this, it's a surprise. I sometimes literally pinch myself that we're talking about this, that we have this opportunity, and the uncertainty is what to do with it. So there's all sorts of mistakes I've already made, and all sorts of decisions like how to scale it. There were issues this year about licensing coaches or trademarks or business things, money things, my own life things, and all I could do is listen to people that are critical, people that are supportive, but listen to everybody, kind of synthesize that in an objective way as I can, and then take a step. Right? And then some of those steps are going to be missteps, but keep going. And one thing I've developed over the past few years is, and many of you I know have this, is grit. Like, I will keep going. And I can commit that to you, that this mission is not like a slogan I made up, for something, for a business. This is the rest of my life. Like, I'm happy to keep working on this forever because it's a problem worth working on. And whatever success I can have in making a dent in that problem, all I could do is what I could do. But boy, we're on a great start. So thank you for that question.
Okay. I think this could go on forever, but those were beautiful, beautiful last words, and I think we should also look on the points we have still on the agenda. So, thanks a lot, John.
Thanks, brother. Thank you.
Really, always.
Thank you.
Impressive, wonderful. And when you tell us the journey we're all part of, it feels just so good to be here. So thanks again, John.